Show. Always Irish. Show. Always Irish. Show. Sometimes it's good to just yell about football. What are you doing? Don't do this to me, Harry! The Ohio State. It's Ohio State! What do you mean, the? It's a poison. I almost stroked out and died over it. I'm glad to be at the party. I'm mad we're this late. You ain't a captain of nothing but a sinking ship. That helps the defense without them even doing a damn thing. Doing a damn thing. The call-in line. 312-988-15. You tell Johnny all you've heard and seen. Oh, Irish. Oh, Irish. Oh, Irish. Oh, Irish. Irish. Yeah, that's right. Oh, Irish. Oh, Irish. Oh, Irish. Oh, Irish. Irish. Yeah, that's right. Welcome in. Welcome back. That's right. Can you feel the energy, people? Can you feel it? It's building, even though it's a Monday morning, and I actually do try and build up on a Monday morning. I realize people are maybe a little tired getting their week going. It's just hard. It's hard to not feel that energy and that anxiety. You know what I'm talking about. That first game, season starting. What's going to happen? What are we going to be? Am I going to be happy or am I going to be miserable again? All of that energy, I'm feeling it. It's coming in. You can feel it in your stomach when you're somebody that's the way anybody watching this program is all summer. You can feel it. You can feel it building deep inside you, that football, that Notre Dame anxiety. There's like regular life anxiety, and then there's that Notre Dame football anxiety. You can feel it building, and it's most welcomed. It's most welcome. We got a few things to go over. We already have people on the call-in lines. We're going to get to it all, folks. Thank you for being here, sharing your Monday morning with me. Just feels so good. We're almost going to get answers to these questions we've been asking ever since what? December or January. We've been asking these questions, and it's almost here. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't yet. I'd appreciate it very much. Give the video a thumbs up. That helps me as well. Notifications on that way you alerted every time a new episode drops. You don't want to miss it. Twitter, search bar, Always Irish or at Always Irish Inc. Emails, alwaysirishnd@gmail.com. Audio only anywhere you want it. You can get it to call-in lines. 312-988-15. You tell Johnny all you've heard and seen. Fighting Irish Wire every single day. You type it in the internet, and Notre Dame football stories that I and other fantastic writers put in there, and you read all about it. Read all about it. All right. Here's the deal, you guys. I put together that short yesterday with the summertime and like the landscape from a stadium video overlooking Touchdown Jesus. And I was putting that together, and it had me thinking about all of the summer and kind of the football nostalgia you have in the summer when you're starving, you're thirsting for some real football all summer. You're sitting there and you're thinking about that. And it just made me realize how important every single individual game is in a football season. I feel like all summer we sit there and say, oh, football, we need football. And then it gets here, and then people only care about the big games once you're spoiled again and you have football every week. That's a mistake. It's a mistake I think we made last year. Taking some games for granted. It's making me realize how precious every game is. How starved we are for these games in the summer, man. It makes me realize how important every single game is, and you can never take it for granted. I don't care if it's Ohio State on the schedule or if it's Central Michigan / Always Irish tailgate on the schedule. Everyone's important. And last year, it looked like the fans and the players took some weeks off. Can't do it anymore. Can't have it this year. This schedule is too damn tough to have any games where you sleepwalk through them. All right? And that leads me to this. captains were announced over the weekend. There's going to be 4 of them. Hartman, Bertrand, Hart, Alt. All right? So that's going to be your player leadership situation. A couple offensive guys, couple defensive guys, guys with experience, guys that have been around. Here's the question I have for you, and it's probably a question best served for Mike Goolsby. I want to know how much that captainship matters in the modern era of college football. I want to know, is that more of just like an honor you bestow upon your best players? I want to know how serious you take this captaincy. I want to look at it as I couldn't imagine an honor higher than being named a Notre Dame football captain. And what that means to me is, it is that group's responsibility to make sure these players are in the right mind space to open every football game. That's what that means to me. I don't look at this and say, oh, you're a captain, you've been around here a while, whatever, good for you. All right? I want to know the responsibilities here. Do you think that's overblown or a big deal? If I'm named a captain at Notre Dame, I'm taking that seriously, and it is my job to make sure and to check in and make sure these guys are doing what they got to do and they're in the right mind frame to play all these ball games. So I don't know what you make of that. I mean, I like having Alt out there, the ultimate tough guy who's proven it. And it's very, very interesting, if the team is a part of selecting these captains. I find it very interesting, like the Hartman dynamic. Obviously, the quarterback is the captain of your team, whether it's official or not. I don't care what anybody says. Whether it's official or not, they're the most important piece of everything a football team's capable of accomplishing. And it's the most important individual position in sports. The quarterback's a big deal. Him not being a Notre Dame guy for a bunch of years, going through those Notre Dame struggles, doing all that, and it's the school where all of that. Hartman wasn't here for any of that, but he's here now, and he's the leader of this offense. And so I'm just interested to know if you guys have an opinion on exactly what extent that means to be a captain. Yeah, Kaiser, somebody asked me before I saw who the captains were. And I think I had Kaiser up there too, just as a pick, as a guy that's been around a long time and well respected. And so listen, I need you to make sure these guys are ready. This schedule is way too tough to be taking days and weeks off. This team cannot afford to do that the way they did last year. There's too many legitimately hard games against good opponents to throw a loss in the garbage against somebody you have more talent than. It absolutely has to end this year, and it cannot happen anymore. It just cannot happen anymore. And I know Freeman talked about, and I think I did a show about this, Freeman changing his own mindset to get more into week to week instead of big picture. And he even said, I tried to look big picture last year. We were sitting there with 4 losses at the end of the year. Obviously, that message didn't resonate enough. So it seems like Freeman's going to narrow it down into more this week-by-week focus. And so these games are too damn important. There's only 12 of them. And with these big ones, you can't throw any away. Notre Dame needs to take care of business. Something else that I want to throw into the mix before I go over some chats and then we get to the calls. 773-618. You're going to be the first 2 today. Did you guys see the breaking Navy news? Did you see the breaking Navy news? This is very, very interesting. I haven't been seeing it getting a lot of traffic, but I saw an article on it on Twitter, and I believe the article came from the Navy media people. Navy's coach is saying they're going to play 2 quarterbacks against Notre Dame. Now, this is very interesting. If this was any other team, you would be sitting there saying, is this one of those dynamics where if you have 2 quarterbacks, you really don't have any? and you're in camp and they're both at the same level and neither one has risen to a level that like secures them the job. Is this a dynamic where you say that with Navy? If you have two quarterbacks, maybe you have none. Is this a dynamic where one of them is more of the passing guy and one of them's more of like a running typical option quarterback? And if that's the case, isn't Notre Dame just going to know the passing guy's in, be alerted for that, and then the more option-oriented guy is in? Those are some questions I have. And here's the other one. If this was any other team on the schedule, and I hear that they're going to play two quarterbacks, I would ask, is one better at passing or running than the other? Whatever. What are we going to get? Are they trying to be tricky? What do we got going on here? Here's the extra step to this, though, that I wonder. Is it not risky for Navy specifically to have two quarterbacks out there when their offense is ultra reliant on rhythm and timing? That is a big question I have. Think about that Navy offense, and when it's cooking and it's running right against Notre Dame, it is a well-oiled machine. The timing is down. The pitches are timed perfectly, sucking the defender in and then pitching it at the last second. The blocking's there. The offensive line all moving and doing their cheap shot blocks, whatever they're going to do. Like, Navy is ultra dependent on the timing of that offense being perfect, or it all falls apart. Just like with us. Roy Boy's saying no worries about Navy. That's fine. Didn't we sit here saying no worries about Marshall? No worries about Stanford? We got short memories. If this team was Georgia, with Georgia's recent record, then I'm more likely to agree with you. Yeah, some of these teams we could overlook because we've proven we're way beyond where they're at. Notre Dame has not earned that. Marcus Freeman has not earned that yet. So listen, man, I want to get up here and say no worries about Navy too, but it's irresponsible. I can't do it. Roy Boy follows up with, we also have a quarterback now. Is he playing defense, the same defense that couldn't stop the fullback for 200 yards last year? If that game went on 4 more minutes, Notre Dame loses it last year. Like, let's ignore the fact that boy wonder genius Tommy Rees put up a total of 12 yards of offense the second half. Tell me that. I'm the idiot. I'm the one who doesn't understand football. Tommy Rees is a genius, and I'm the only one who doesn't see it. That genius put together 12 yards of offense against Navy in a half last year. 12. Not 120, not 1,200, 12. 12 yards of offense against Navy. 12. And I'm the idiot that I don't see the genius pouring out of Tommy Rees's head every time a decision's made. 12 yards of offense and a half against Navy isn't even real life. Come on. And then even if you say, we got a quarterback now that's going to change everything, I want to agree with you. Hey, man, defense. I'm sorry. We did a bad job defending Navy last year. It would be irresponsible of me to overlook that. Now, let me push back on myself. I'm fair, even when it's at my own expense. Let me push back on myself here. I was thinking about this yesterday. I had a long drive yesterday, and no music. I just sitting in my Notre Dame thoughts, driving through the country, all right? Here's what I thought about. While I'm not going to take Navy for granted, I am also not going to act like it's the build-up to the season last year. They're not Ohio State. Just because it's the first game, I'm not going to build it up to the extent that Ohio State was last year, game 1. That's a different thing. But I'm able to say you need to pay more attention to Navy than we apparently did last year, or a lot of fans want to. And But I'm not going to act like you're matching up against Ohio State. I've said it before and I'll say it again. And I know this comes off negative to Navy, and I don't mean it that way. Notre Dame versus Navy is so much more about Notre Dame than it is Navy. It's all about Notre Dame. Like, we either have it together and know what we're doing to defend them and then take advantage of their undersize on offense, or we don't. And I don't mean that as a negative, but in the years where Notre Dame has their stuff together, they take care of Navy. And in the years they don't, it's a cluster and you're holding on for dear life, sweating it out. So it's not the same buildup as last year when you had Ohio State right out of the gate, but I'm not overlooking Navy after what we did last year in general, losing the dumb games we did, and in the Navy game, it was bad. So I'm not trying to overdo it, but there has to be a legitimate level of concern. You just got to be ready week one. Use that big ramp up. You got what, 4 or 5 weeks in the summer camp to get all your Navy stuff ready. Get it going, baby. Get it going. I just have no patience to be giving up 200 yards to the fullback when you had all summer to get ready. Can't have it. But that 2 quarterback thing, that's interesting to me. A team like Navy is so based on rhythm and timing. There is a chance you run in 2 quarterbacks. There's bad timing on an exchange or a pitch, and it's going Notre Dame's way the other way. I'm just telling you, it's risky, especially when you're Navy. It's risky because of that timing that offense relies upon. And again, if you want to be like, well, it's more of a running guy or a passing guy, well, you're not hiding it then. We're just going to know this guy has the better arm. Be alert for the pass when this guy's in and the other guy's a running guy. I'm very interested in that. All right, let's check out some chats and then we'll get to the calls. Again, 773-618, going to be the first couple. Pat, happy Monday, John, and the Always Irish family. This time next week, we'll be in game week, starting to get the feeling. So close for another adventurous season. Go Irish, beat Navy. I'm telling you, Pat, there's that unique burning in your stomach, that Notre Dame anxiety into every year, the excitement, all of the questions rushing through your brain. What's the team going to look like? What's the year going to look like? You feel it burning. It comes up in your body. It sneaks up on you in the late summer, and everybody can feel it, and it's just wonderful. And you can't manufacture this emotion. You can't fake this emotion. It comes from within, and it just rises up in you every year. That Notre Dame feeling before the first game. It's a special, special thing. And I know other fan bases have whatever whatever hits them. There's something special about that Notre Dame early fall football thing. There's some romanticism there. There's the ghosts of Rockne and Leahy are coming back to me. Like, I feel all that, man. It's a special, special time, and I hope the team takes advantage of it, man. Very special opportunity every year. $5 holler from Paul. Really appreciate that. Morning, Captain John. I like the shirt Pat was wearing. I own Smith & Wesson pistol. Go 2A and go Irish. I wasn't expecting anybody to root for an amendment, but here we are. Thanks for the donation. Sean Hunter, good morning to you, sir. Got my tickets for the 23rd. Yes, I'm scared. Tough to turn the channel if I'm in South Bend. I'm just telling you, I don't know what that, I want to see what that mix looks like. Here's an interesting one from Mark. I got a couple theories on this, Mark. Callers, I'm getting right to you. I foresee Harbaugh quitting before the NCAA investigates him in 24. I have been working this in my mind too, trying to figure out what exactly is going on here. So he agreed to do the 4-game suspension to start this year for the hamburger violation. Listen, as much as I hate Michigan people, and as much as I think Harbaugh is an alien from another planet with a brain disorder, I think it's a joke they went after him the way they did over this cheeseburger in a dead COVID recruiting period when you look at what else is going on around the country, like if we have a scale of the egregious affronts to college football rules, Harbaugh's cheeseburger is about dead at the bottom compared to everything else going on, and they're not going after those people, but they're going after Harbaugh for that illegal cheeseburger he offered to recruit in a dead period during COVID, and he was trying to recruit anyways, all right? So they're going after him for that. He agreed to that 4-game suspension. Then the NCAA has rejected that plea deal, I guess we'll call it. They have rejected that, saying they want to look into this more, which tells me they think he deserves more than 4 games, and there's more involved here. If they wouldn't accept that, they're going for more discipline. So what this means is he's going to be available to coach every game this year, and they're going to have a hearing or something during the year to figure out what the discipline will be for next year. But here's the angle. This year, they play 10 high school teams, Penn State and Ohio State. All right? He wants to be available for that. He thinks this is their chance, their run this year for a title, not just to make the playoff, but a title. And then next year, listen to what Michigan has next year. They are going to be replacing 17 to 18 starters right off the bat off this team. They are going to replace 17 or 18 starters. They also have Texas at Ohio State, Wisconsin, UCLA at USC. That's a real schedule next year. I don't know how this year they ended up with 10 high school teams. That's a real ass schedule next year. I'm wondering if Harbaugh's doing we're going to get one this year and then either next year flush down the toilet when it's a rebuild year anyways and I'm suspended 10 games or whatever, or if he has another great year, maybe some bizarre NFL team will want to stir that up again, and then he doesn't have to deal with the discipline. Pete Carroll style. Get the hell out of here before you can discipline me. I don't know what the reality of any of this is, but I'm looking at that 24, and I think Harbaugh's thinking we got to get it this year because next year's going to be rough no matter what, replacing all those starters with that schedule. I don't know, but it's a very interesting note. Domer 88, paint the house that Rock built green on September 23rd. No more red takeovers. Be heard, be seen. Don't sell your tickets to the other team, people. That's what we're going with. Jay Lehman, Adam, what's going on? What is going on? Nikki Dean, good to see you. Nick, he says, I'm sorry I hung up on you on Saturday. I feel bad, Nick. You waited on hold forever. Your arm fell off, and then I got John and the phone dropped off. I understand. Things happen. Mikey Poles, that's my security guard for Central Michigan. Good morning, John. Did you see Joe Klatt at Indy ranked 18th in the top 25? He also had Penn State ranked 5th. It boggles my mind how these so-called experts have the jobs platforms they do. Usually, Joe Klatt's one of the more fair ones to Notre Dame, generally speaking. I have found him to be among the least biased against Notre Dame in that big media scrum, like the popular national guys. Here's a couple thoughts. Number one is wherever Notre Dame starts, I'm not worried about. The schedule is so strong. It, on its own merits, is going to dictate exactly where Notre Dame lands. So I'm not overly concerned about where we're at in the AP preseason, any of that stuff. Our schedule is going to dictate exactly where Notre Dame deserves to be ranked. Okay, so you have every opportunity in the world to change minds, change your position. If you start out 4-0 before Ohio State, you're going to be inside the top 10, and so are they. You're going to get the build-up you want and you need. So if Notre Dame takes care of business, these rankings all sort themselves out. This is not a schedule like Kelly's last one, where the hardest game was Cincinnati at home and he couldn't figure it out. That one, you had to try and convince people Notre Dame was worth that final playoff spot and all that. That is not going to be the case this year. That schedule makes the case for you, and you're going to see where Notre Dame belongs, okay? Now, on the Penn State end, I've been saying that. I said this yesterday to somebody at lunch. Penn State right now reminds me of Brian Kelly Notre Dame teams. Here's what I mean. Pretty good recruiting, but by no means elite. That's right where I think Penn State falls in recruiting. And then they're going to beat most of the teams they should beat, and then they're going to lose to the best teams they play. That's where I'm at on Penn State till they prove me wrong. They are Brian Kelly Notre Dame. Recruit pretty good, but not elite, and they're going to beat most of these bad teams they should beat. And then when I need them to upset Michigan, when I need them to beat Ohio State or something, they're never going to do it. That's it. They're Notre Dame Brian Kelly. That's what I've learned. Every time I tune in to see Penn State play Ohio State or Michigan, I'm going, throw your Irish buddy a bone and clip these guys off, and then they play like anus and get the crap beat out of them. So I am never a believer in Penn State till they prove it to me they can beat the better teams in that conference, and they never, ever do it. They don't do it. And until they do, I don't trust them. I can't trust them. Hang in there, callers. I'm getting there. I feel bad, but I'm getting there. I promise you. We're talking about the red takeover. I don't think it'll be that bad. Even during the red takeovers, it wasn't that bad. It always seems way worse than it really is. I'll say it'll probably be closer to 66, 33, 2/3, 1/3. I could see that being a reasonable ratio. And I'm still not coming off this, you guys. I'm still saying it, and I still mean it 100%. The biggest determining factor of if this is a lot of red or just a little red is Notre Dame being 4-0. The entire key to this whole season being anything resembling what we want it to be. 4-0's, it's got to be. It absolutely has to be. Notre Dame has to be 4-0 going into Ohio State, or it's 8-4 all over again. It just is. I mean, I'm of the mindset that if Notre Dame's if they're going to drop a game in the top 4, I have real doubts what you're going to do against Ohio State if you're capable of losing one of the first 4. And then you're looking at 8-4 all over again. You got to beat Ohio State then to save your season if you go into it with one loss. You don't want to be in that position. Notre Dame's got to be 4-0. I don't even care if there's some rust and it looks rough early. 4-0. 4-0. Dogfight against NC State. Well, I don't care. 4-0. It has to be for any of this to work, to avoid the red takeover, to hope for the playoff. 4-0. Going into that game. It is an absolute 100% necessity in every single practical way. Gotta have that. Gotta have that. Domer guy, there's no way it was 50-50. In 8, there's no way. I don't think it was 50-50. I mean, that's extreme 50-50. Adam Dowling, what's going on? C. Jones. Morning, John. We're getting closer. You can feel it. Oh, it's burning my stomach. I'm telling you, feel it. It's a unique anxiety, and it just rises back in your soul, and it's just kind of grows late in the summer, but you feel it deep inside you. The spirit of football's within you, and it's a beautiful thing. I welcome that anxiety, that burning in your stomach. College football's back. And you love to see it. You truly do. What is this? My barber had a season ticket holder sell him 8 tickets, all Buckeye fans. That's just wrong. I don't like that, man. That ain't right. That ain't right. Bob Kelly, greetings, John. Been away for a couple weeks. What do you know about our kicking situation? Hopefully we don't need it against USC. We got a guy with a big leg. As far as like field goals, that kid was talking about 75 yards in the hurricane winds down in Florida. He was making kicks with the wind. He's got a big leg. Distance is never going to be the issue. It's accuracy and consistency. Punter, when he booms one, it's a rocket. Again, consistency. Now, I will say this, and I had this discussion yesterday too, and it warms my little leprechaun soul. It warms my leprechaun soul. I have been reassured that even though there was a change at special teams coach, it is still being emphasized and prioritized in practice. I have been assured 100% they are still spending a lot of time on special teams, way more than they ever did under Kelly in these camps. And also, one of the biggest indicators that they're still taking special teams deadly seriously is the following. There's still starters that are on those units. And that tells you a lot how much they value it, that they have starting linebackers and stuff out there on those coverages. I like that. Okay, so I have been reassured it's still a priority. Now, are you likely to get those 7 block punts for a touchdown this year again? Just the odds of likelihood tell you no, but I have been reassured they're still prioritizing special teams, and it's a big damn deal to me. I have zero patience, zero tolerance for sloppy special teams. It is just an unacceptable way to live. There is no reason at all you should be sloppy on special teams. That needs to be a tight unit. Okay? Tight unit. Jay Lehman. I've had people specifically tell me they buy and they're only in it to make money. Not sure what you can do about someone with that motivation. He's talking about buying tickets. Here's what I would do with that motivation. What I would do with that motivation is say what I've always said. I am never going to tell anybody not to make money and be an entrepreneur, all right? We live in a capitalistic society. It makes the world go round. I understand that. Here's what I'm saying, though. You could flip tickets and make a huge profit selling them to Notre Dame people. It does not. There are so many Notre Dame people with a lot of money that will pay anything, and it doesn't even bust their budget. There is a way for everybody to win here where somebody that just wants to buy tickets and flip them for a profit can do so and make a bunch of money. Make sure they go to Notre Dame people, man. It isn't that hard. When I used to sell a lot of tickets on Chicago Craigslist, and I used to do them in paper, in person, meet a guy in a parking lot, exchange money. You email back and forth a couple times and you get an idea whether the guy's a Notre Dame fan or not. Half the times the emails were Notre Dame guy 88, and then I engage with them to see what they say, how much they know about the team. And then once I knew they were Notre Dame guys, I'd sell them the tickets. Like, if you're not lazy about it, there's a way to do it. So I was able to do that. You could too. Make your money, but sell them to Notre Dame people. Why is that such a big ask? Take an extra step to make sure it's our people, man. Come on, bro. T-Rex reincarnated, the dinosaur. 80-20 ND fans to Ohio State fans. More importantly, 42-35 ND. My question is, when this happens at 5-0, where will ND be ranked? I'm guessing at this point, too, you be in the top 5. I ain't even going to worry about it. If you get to 5-0, you're going to be in the top 5, and I don't care where it is. That'll be good enough for me. Good enough for me. I'm not even going to worry about what the number is, man. Not going to worry about it. Here in the D-line looking good. That was a concern for most. I was concerned about wide receiver. I still am. Thankfully, 4 games to get them where they need to be. The defensive line reporting, there's a better, bigger, tougher rotation than any of us planned on there being if we are to believe the practice reports. I still say, believe it when I see it against Ohio State. That's my general rule for gauging the offensive line and the defensive line. Whatever happens in the first 4 games is going to happen. Game 5 is where I'm really judging you. Can you hold up front on both sides of the ball against Ohio State's talent? That's what I need to know. But that D-line, it looks like, if you believe the reports, there's a bigger, robust rotation with bigger, stronger guys, and the energy's good. I don't know what else you can ask for. Prove it in the game. Prove it. Believe it when I see it. Prove it. Gotta prove it. Tom, what's going on? I believe you're on the line here. You're going to be the first up. Hang with me, Tom. You're coming right up, bro. Mark with glasses. A lot of Twitter's wondering if the Bowman and Gobara ACL tears are from a certain brand of shoes. There is absolutely no way it's fair to say that. But I am going to bring up the orthopedic medical study that found teams that have Under Armour shoes suffer more lower leg injuries than teams that have contracts with other brands of cleats. by a amount that this study found to be significantly significant as a standard deviation outlier, like beyond what would be a standard deviation outlier. You cannot say in any way that's what caused these issues. But when there is a scientific study out there that suggests there's an issue with this footwear, it's one of the bullet points I said before Notre Dame re-ups with Under Armour. If they're doing it, you got to look into that. I don't know if they did or not. I don't know if anybody's shown them the study or not. But before I worry about how cool the gear looks, I'm worried about our guys' safety first. So you can't draw that, causation correlation thing. I'm just saying it's on my mind. T-Rex. Freeman got a raw deal last year with Reese being around. Locker room still reeked to Kelly. We're a year from that. 6-1 last 7 games. This team's being overlooked, and I'm fine with it. T-Rex, there's an argument there. There is an argument to be made. Some people like years where Notre Dame slides under the national radar. Notre Dame's not in the top 5 and all that. And a lot of people, the win over under total Vegas is 8.5, I think. So, they're not looked at as a championship favorite, a playoff favorite. That could play in Notre Dame's advantage. Go ahead and let people not think much of you. And then you blow through your season and then you get to the big 3 and you show people what you got. You're going to have every opportunity to change minds. Sometimes Notre Dame does better when they have a year where they sneak under the radar to open up. And I'm open to it. I'm open and I'm hoping. Let's put it that way. Let's just put it that way. Oh, Sean Hunter, good to see you. Angela Rudiger, it's always good to have a Rudiger in the morning. Coffee for closers. Manny, what's up with that? What's up with that, Manny? Burt Reynolds is reincarnated. What's up, John? Good morning. Feeling the butterflies already. Yeah, Burt, that's what I'm telling you, man. You feel it. It is magical. It is a very special feeling. You can't manufacture it. You can't fake it. That burning in your soul for Notre Dame football is a special, special moment. And every year that you live and you get to experience that feeling, and it's not intentional, you're not trying to do it, it's in all of us. That that burning butterfly football anxiety Notre Dame feeling. It's a wonderful thing, man. I cherish that feeling. I really do. Mark with glasses. Wide receiver is going to be interesting. Thomas is going to be a beast, and Tyree will provide speed. But I saw a video of 6'4" Merriweather, 6'5" Colsey running routes. They looked the part too. Mark, it's very interesting you say this. I had a bullet point on wide receivers today, and what I had circled was, I think Thomas and Tyree are going to be the 2 most reliable guys. It's funny you bring them up. I think Thomas is the default leader of this group as we enter the year. He's the most proven. He isn't extremely proven, but he's by far the most reliable guy out there of this group. With Merriweather, Colsey, and all the young guys, Thomas is the most reliable guy to me. So he's the default leader of that group. Tyree, it's odd for me to say he's going to be reliable considering he's changed positions. I genuinely think he will be reliable. I think he's an upperclassman guy. He's going to learn those routes, catch the ball, and jitterbug his way and be off. And I love that. So I love that. But you need Merriweather and Colsey to emerge so you could blend this all together with the young athletic guys, Greathouse and Flores. If you had 6'4", 6'5" out there making plays, Tyree in the slot stays up the middle, up the seam as a tight end. And then that the running backs we have, Notre Dame's offense should be off to the races, baby. And if it isn't, something's gone horribly wrong if this offense isn't way, way better. I'm not going to say elite. There's too many unproven things to say that. But if it ain't much, much better, something's going wrong. Roy boy, what up with it? Domer Wop, the doo-wop. Dr. John, good morning. 2 days till my Ireland flight. Dr. John, I hope you got yourself a luxury seat on that first class. Dr. John sipping champagne, wearing his Notre Dame gear, flying over the big pond, heading over to the homeland. I love it, Dr. John. And I want a late night report from them Ireland pubs. I know you're going to be posted up there holding shop. I want a report from those late night Ireland pubs, Dr. John. I do. Oh boy, Larry, go Irish from uncomfortable Houston. Yeah, it's real hot out there. The Format Podcast, Bruce. He's my he's the my mouth of the South down in Jacksonville. Really feeling good about the Irish, especially a bit more confident about that defense. Check out the second part of my discussion with John about the season, college football, and Irish. Go find the Format Podcast. I joined Bruce last week. Check it out, people. Always good to be with you, Brucey. Matt Miller, what's going on, buddy? Andrew Gilmore in the house, sending me emails with good ideas and good ways to think about Notre Dame every damn week. It's a beautiful thing. Matthew says, 773, you're coming up. Freeman finally getting to play a QB he wanted. The QB room should be good from now on. Matthew, here's what I really want to happen. I think everybody feels pretty good. Angeli's been getting a lot of praise for earning the backup number 2 role so far. Had a really good summer. I think physically people feel very excited about Minchie's physical capabilities and the upside of that. So you have that in 23. Then you have Carr, who we all feel good about in 24. Can Notre Dame lock down one of these elite physical potential guys in 25 as well? Deuce Knight, perhaps. That way you would be able to build yourself a 3-year window bridge where you feel like you have the potential to have an elite physical upside quarterback in each of those 3 classes. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Notre Dame's not going to keep all those guys. If they got them all, they're not all staying in Notre Dame forever because somebody's going to rise, the cream of the crop, as the Macho Man would say. One of those guys is going to be the guy you're going to hitch your wagon to that's going to rise above the other one, and the other one or two of the other guys are going to go elsewhere. That is fine. You get the elite one that you're hitching the wagon to, that's going to have to be your guy. It's all about rolls of the dice, spins at the wheel. The more of these elite guys you have, the more odds one of them's going to hit. One of them's going to hit then. And you're not going, we only have one physical upside guy, and if he doesn't hit, we're screwed. No. You're giving yourself more rolls of the dice there. That's what I need to happen. Build yourself that quarterback bridge 3 classes in a row. That's what I want to see, and I want it to be. Tim B. The QB should be a captain. The team must believe in Artman if he was chosen. Yeah, I mean, I said it before, even if they're not named the captain, they're the captain. David Solomon, Kaiser deserved to be there before Hart, in my opinion. I don't know how they what all goes into that. Jeremy Welling. I watched and the OC said he'll play 2 QBs if that's what they need to do. What I read in the article, he said it's likely they're going to. It didn't sound like it was if we need to, if things go bad. The article I read, it was more like you should expect to see 2. That's what that coach said. So I don't know, man. I don't know. Savage Dog. The more I talk to Ohio State fans, the more I'll be rooting for ND to roll the Buckeyes. Yeah, I do understand that there is a Georgia-Ohio State rift, and I do appreciate it. It's a fun one to watch sometimes. I know Uncle Lou goes at Ohio State all the time on his channel, the Georgia guy. He was yelling at a caller about Ohio State last week, and I love that. Oh, that's funny. Andrew Gilmore. The ND beat writers are painting a rosy picture of ND's D-line and pass rush. Are we sure we believe it? They are saying ND has multiple options off the edge. If that's true, where were they last year? Are we sure we believe it? No, we are not. No, we're not. I only believe it if you do well against Ohio State. We could hope for it. We could say that the reports are positive and are looking better, and we're glad to see positive reports rather than negative. No, I don't believe it. 100% I don't believe it. I have to see it to believe it with Notre Dame football. How many times in your Notre Dame lives have you been burned by Notre Dame football when you think you can believe in them for a minute? No. The last 25 years, Notre Dame football has burned any built-in big game credibility. No. So, no, I don't believe it. I have to see it to believe it. I want it to be true, but I got to see it to believe it against Ohio State. Not the first 4 games. Ohio State. Okay? Garen, what's up? Good morning, Garen. Who else do we got? Cole Mendenhall, good to see you in here. The two aspects of college football is talent and coaching. If this season underperforms, I think it's an indictment of the staff. They got to be good. And you got to be good right away. There are no warm-up games in college football. Every one of them matters. And with Notre Dame's schedule, you can't afford to drop any game at all. At all. Deb Thomas, good to see you. Good to see you. What did old Pat shoot at the golf course? Shot 91 yesterday. Didn't hit a fairway until 12. Irons are striking crisp, putting decent, struggles with chipping. Probably going to hit the driver 1,000 times for Sunday. I don't know if that'll help or hurt you. Sometimes after a bad round of golf, the best thing I could do is not practice till I play again. Rather than get in there, be in my own head and all that, sometimes I just put the clubs up a couple days, clear my mind, go back out there. And don't overthink it and just try and start fresh. Will, there's no reason why ND shouldn't be able to hang 50 plus on Navy. The talent gap between ND and Navy's big. Run up the score. Say that every year. Like, you could say that every year. And sometimes Notre Dame struggles to beat Navy. They shorten the game. You're off rhythm. You go 3 and out a couple times. They have a 9-minute drive. Boom. You're in a bad spot. It doesn't take much to be in a dogfight with Navy. A couple 3 and outs, and then you allow them 2 8-minute drives. There goes first half. Like, I'm just telling you. So you got to be on point. You got to be on point. That's it. It sounds like a tough day and nothing more. Don't rush out there. Take a couple days off. Yeah, exactly, Pat. Just take a couple days off. That's that's what I would suggest you do. I'm 2-0 in these matches now. John's always been my caddy. He helps, except when we get on 12 and he says, don't hit it out of bounds, and then I hit it out of bounds. I mean, I'm just telling you where not to hit it, bud. I'm just telling you where not to hit it. It's like a magnet. I say, you see that field over there? Don't snap hook it in there. And then there it goes. I manifested it right into his head. Manifested it. My bad. Mark Holzum, what's going on, everybody? We got a $5 holler from Paul again. Thank you very much. Pat looks like he has a very nice family. Likes seeing the kids. John, someday put your kid on the show. The kid and the wife were on the show on one of the Saturday nights. They came in. Month or two ago, I think they came in. Both of them were on. And yeah, Pat does have a wonderful family. Very well-behaved young children due to Pat's parental tutelage. Yeah. See, James, I wasn't worried about Marshall last year. That's what I'm telling you guys. It's easy on paper to say, don't worry about it. And then you get in the game and we have these problems. I don't believe the spin put on practice reports. There's a give and a take with that. Think about it, you guys. How much are you going to spin things if you really don't believe them? Like, don't you start to put your credibility at risk? That's my question. When you're like, I don't put any stock in what any of the beat reporters are saying. Isn't that a risk on their end? What would they get out of pumping up the defense and the defensive line more than what they believe it should be pumped up? What did they get out of that? If it doesn't look good in the year, don't they lose credibility? Like, I don't see the advantage of them building it up if they don't believe it. Because then you're hanging yourself to dry. So I don't know, man. I would think that these guys that have seen practice for 20, 30 years wouldn't be lying about what they see just to make us feel good in the summer. Then you lose all your credibility. So I don't know. Oh, boy. Brian Farmer, what's going on? All right, let's get to some calls. See what the people think. 773, you're on with me. What's going on a Monday?
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Man, I'm just starting to get that feeling building in me, man. That Notre Dame football preseason excitement, man. You feel it growing. It comes up in you. You feel it in your stomach. Just we're ready to get answers to some of these questions. Where are you at with all this here a couple weeks for the first game?
Well, I'll tell you, just to piggyback off what you said, when you're just talking about all the reports from the different people that cover Notre Dame and all the practice reports, I can basically get through all the blabber, but a couple of things that I got was the press conference that Freeman had after the practice on Saturday. He actually kept talking about their intensity, and how well they're gelling together. It seems to me, I haven't heard that much positivity coming out of a Notre Dame camp in over 25 years.
Yeah. And you know what stands out to me that I will verify that I feel too is all of the clips we've seen, they're very limited with the media availability, but all of the clips and all of the reporting, there seems to be a different level of intensity to this camp than I am used to seeing. Sometimes it's like sleepy, humid Indiana. We got to ramp up the energy. It looks to me like there is a lot more intensity. And I've seen that and I feel that. So I know it's not just a media creation, but when I see these clips, these guys look cranked up and I'm here for it.
Well,
I love it.
And that's what's getting me excited. So, you're talking going into the Navy. I think if they come out with a balanced attack, I think they're going to smoke Navy like a white owl. I really do.
Yeah.
It's too important of a first game to go out and lay an egg with this new quarterback, Hartman. I mean, they're going to have to go for their throats and go early and go often.
Yeah.
And I think one of the key components to this offense is going to be Tyree. I think he's going to lead Notre Dame in all-purpose yards when it's all said and done. He's going to remind me, playing in that slot position and widen out, there was a player in the early 80s called Joe Small Wonder Howard. And they're built the same way, and they've got the same type of speed. Now, this report that Tyree caught 20,000 balls in the springtime because of this Monarch machine is legit. I verified it. I mean, that's a lot of balls to catch. So this team's going to be ready. I have no doubt in my mind.
Yeah. And you know what else? With Tyree, here's a couple things I think about. Number one is I believe he could be a deadly secret weapon for Notre Dame, in between the running backs, the tight end, and what we have at receiver. And he's just a matchup problem, finding a gap, whatever we're doing there. But here's my questions. I want to know, in that initial wide receiver rotation, how big of a priority is Tyree? Like, that's what I want to know. How often are they going to try and scheme up stuff just for Tyree to shine, whether it's like a slip screen or something with blocking? Like, I would like to know how much of these plays are going to be drawn up for Tyree to succeed versus how good is he going to be as Hartman's bailout? I think he's going to be that default bailout that Mayer was last year, where if nobody's open down the field and Hartman's scanning it, or Navy throws all out blitz up there, Hartman's good enough that he knows right where that dump off is. He's going to get it to Tyree, and he's going to jitterbug and be off. So those are the kind of things that are in my mind. What do you think about those facts?
Well, I do too. So if you got Merriweather or Jaden Thomas running a 9 route, and then you delay or get Tyree to run a 7 route, that's going to be very hard to defend, especially the Naval Academy. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I mean, they're gonna smoke their doors off.
Yeah,
I just don't know how much you know what I mean? I just don't know how much they're going to show against Navy, leading up, because I know he's looking at Ohio State. He's not, I hate that looking ahead stuff, but I really think they're going to be hard to defend. And when you get these other kids on the field, as far as Jaden Greathouse and Rico Flores, I'll tell you what, it's going to be very interesting. I've never seen Notre Dame have this many potentially quality receivers in my life.
Yeah, it's really great when I hear that Greathouse and Flores came in and we're not acting like freshmen. And it was the way it was described was like the professionalism with which those guys came in as true freshmen and got to work was very advanced. And that is a mentality thing, a maturity thing. But I am very impressed when I'm hearing these guys do not act like freshmen. They don't carry themselves with freshmen.
Right.
They came in here ready to get to work and catch balls this year. These guys didn't come in, I'm a freshman. I'm the new guy. I don't know what I'm doing. I need to accept my role behind the upperclassmen. None of that. These guys came in ready to play and earn their snaps, and I want to see it work out.
I do too. Well, here, John, look, all the elite teams over the last 10 years have had a lot of freshman impact players, except for Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Why not? Let's step up to the plate. Let's see Notre Dame have that. I think they finally got the talent, thank God.
And you know what, man? Listen, that's how you close the gap. We talk about Notre Dame closing the gap all the time. The only way you could do that fast is recruit guys good enough that the first year or two they're on campus, they're messing up the depth chart right away. That is the ultimate indicator of how Notre Dame could close the gap, is getting more of these guys in each class that could be in the two deep the first year they're on campus or year two. And we're seeing it on offense. And with KVA, you're going to get it on defense because he's one of those guys on defense coming in too. So that is a good sign.
There's no question.
Yeah, and that's where I think you start seeing that blue chip ratio pay off for Notre Dame with overall better depth and then finding some of these guys that could play early. That is slowly trending in a positive direction.
And there it is. And then if they could put that all together with a balanced attack, this is why I'm that excited. And I can't wait. I can't wait for kickoff. One more quick thing. Saturday night when I was listening to you, when you almost went off, completely off on the Miami 2017 game and the Michigan no-show game.
Dude.
That was hilarious.
I'm sorry, man. It, like, every once in a while, something will just trigger me so bad that I just erupt, and that was it. I couldn't fathom, like, I just couldn't wrap my mind around anybody associated with that getting an award for anything. I couldn't handle it, man. I just exploded. I know. I couldn't handle it.
And I'll tell you what, I mean, to your point from Saturday night, you're right. That's gone. It's in the past. At least we know going in to this season that Marcus Freeman and the coaching staff are going to have these guys ready to play every game.
Yeah,
they're not going to sleepwalk it.
Yep. I hope so, man. And
all right, brother.
What do you, hey, real quick, what do you make of Navy trying to maybe use two quarterbacks? Does that help them or help us? What do you make of that?
I read about that. Yeah, I read about it last night. And I think I saw the Naval Academy coach, Brian Newberry, get interviewed about that. And he's hedging his bets. I really don't believe that they have a solid quarterback. That's why he's going up for bringing the two quarterbacks in.
Yeah, so a little trickery. Make us thinking. Make Notre Dame fans think.
It depends on how far away he wants to get from the triple option. So if they start throwing the ball, we're going to eat them alive.
Yeah.
That's just the way I think. I don't know how far away he's going to deviate from the triple option, but we'll see. Listen, I got to get going. Thanks for the time. Great talking to you. Great show, brother.
Appreciate the call, my friend. Have a good week. Take care now.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
See ya. What a nice guy. Great call to start the week. What do we got here? Andrew Gilmore, one concern. Why is ND's offense so complicated? They're still saying Merriweather's learning. Just simplify things. If players are in their own head, they don't play fast. With this 618 next, 575 after that. Listen, man, it's just very, very frustrating. Like Merriweather's body is so unique, and it's the kind of guy you need to step up. You got to find ways to integrate him where he doesn't have to overthink it, because he's an important piece of all this. You can't just have Merriweather and Colsey passed up, and the young guy. You need one of these guys, and it's Merriweather's the guy that staff is giving every opportunity to be that number one, go up and get it behind the defense type guy. The consistency, it just seems to be an issue, and I don't know, man. And last year I heard that too. Well, he doesn't understand everything with the route tree and everything, but guess what? You had no wide receivers that were difference makers, almost. Thomas maybe, and the tight end. You needed anybody to make a play. Notre Dame wasn't in a position to be that picky about perfection last year. You needed bodies. That was my argument last year when it was well, he doesn't know everything there is to know about being a polished wide receiver. Notre Dame was not in the position to expect that of the wide receivers because you just needed bodies who can make plays. Notre Dame wasn't in the position to require perfection from the wide receivers. You needed anybody that could go do anything. I don't know. 618, what's going on? 575 after that.
Hey, how you doing, John?
I'm feeling the vibes, baby. I'm feeling that Notre Dame football creep up in my soul. It's coming.
It's quite funny that you brought up Merriweather, because that's who I was going to ask about, man. If anybody hearing about how he's doing in camp or whatever, because if you're still harping on like you was last year, man, it's time to, hey, you're going to get passed up by one of these freshmen.
Up and down, man. Every report I see from practice or see in the written report, up and down, up and down. Sometimes he makes a great athletic play and it's the play of the day. And then there's full practice periods where he doesn't even touch a pass because they all get defended or it doesn't work out. I don't know, man, but Notre Dame's begging him to emerge.
I don't know if it's just because you got the best cornerback duo in the country, or, man, I don't know, man. We definitely got to figure something out with Merriweather, man.
Hey, you know what? That is a good point by you. Hey, that's a good point by you, man. Maybe it's just that we got the best All-American corners in the country. Nobody can catch a pass on them, not even our own guys.
Yeah, it might be, man. I don't know what to say, man. But if it's not that, man, Merriweather, man, if I'm stuck here, I'm taking them in and saying, hey, man, we got to pass you up, man. We got to do something. We got to get something. We got to light a fire up under you. If you ain't getting it together, we got these freshmen that's hungry.
Yeah, but the problem is, I feel like that's already happening with Colsey a little bit. And so they don't want to be in a position where they're bumping down both of those bigger bodies with more experience for the younger guys. One, maybe you would feel okay doing that with, but that's the issue. I don't think they want to bump both those guys. But I think Colsey's getting passed up by the younger guys myself.
I'm just saying, man, if the younger guys are better and they're better equipped and they're going to help you win, hey, man, Merriweather, man, I gave you every opportunity to be the man this year. Maybe you got the little things in the magazine saying that, hey, you're going to be one of the best players in the country this year, or in your head. I don't know what's going on, man, but if you ain't getting it together, man, by a certain amount of games, we got to pass you up with one of the freshmen.
Yeah, it's just way too important. And the other thing is, man, Hartman didn't come here to not have guys to throw to. That dude is not going to be the problem. Hartman's going to be fine. It's on these guys to get open and catch the ball and the line to block for him. But Hartman ain't going to be the problem. We just need to make sure there's guys in a position to catch his ball.
Yeah. But, everything should be all good on the offense, man. But if you got better receivers that's ready,
that's ready, man. That's how most of them schools, that's how the Alabamas did. They didn't care about, you know what I'm saying, about the bigger bodies. They didn't care about
yeah.
if you were a sophomore, junior, senior, they played. You got to put the best 11 on the field.
Listen, man.
No matter
hey, if we're going to talk about the wide receivers, then I'm going to have to ask you this: do you have any anxiety about that interior offensive line holding up? Do you think we're going to be fine? Or are you okay with what they're doing with the guards? And because that's a big part of this too.
Yeah, man. Switching guards in and out, man. That's kind of a problem, especially this late into, you know what I'm saying, into camp and into certain, you know what I'm saying. You done went through a spring. It's just they're gonna have to get that interior together as well.
Yeah, and listen, none of us have seen Joe Rudolph coach offensive line in Notre Dame yet. Camp is the time to try different rotations, different guys, move them around, see who's the better fits. We have no choice but to go with whatever his gut tells him. And if it's Rocco and Coogan or whoever else at the guards, like, we're going to have to roll with it, but they got to be ready, man, because they got to hold up in that middle, and they're going to be tested not by size, but by confusion against Navy right away. Size isn't going to be the issue. Yeah. You're not going to get bull rushed. It's more of the confusion and what they're going to try and do to those new guards. I'm on alert for it.
Yeah, I still think Notre Dame win that game pretty handily, man. You know, they'll figure it out, man.
Hey, you're the one telling me we're undefeated going to the playoffs, so you damn sure better have them winning that game by a lot. I know. You are one of the more positive guys they call in here. You better have us winning.
But, man, if Merriweather still ain't catching on, man, it's time to move on, man. You know, you had a year and a half to get this together, man. You ain't getting it together yet.
Yeah. Yeah. Listen, man, it's now or never. The pressure's on, man. Those young guys are coming for your job. And guess what? There's more coming in the next class for your job. You better get it together.
And I think the offensive line, man, it'll be, you know, we got about 3 weeks. We got about 3.5 weeks to the North Carolina State game, man. That's when we know how tested this offensive line is going to be. I don't think it's going to be Navy. I don't think it's going to be Tennessee State. I could be wrong, but, man, I think that our real true test when it comes down to this offensive line and the interior is against North Carolina State when you got athletes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? When you got actually Division I athletes on the field.
Yeah. No, you bring up a really, really good point. I've been saying of those first 4 games, NC State's the one you're looking for to see where we match up physically, because of the first 4, they're the only ones that will be able to run a lineup out there that could present some push and some problems. That is why that's going to be interesting. That'll be the first big physical man-to-man roster test this year. And I'm on a high alert, man. It's going to be a hot, humid day in the Carolinas. Hope our boys hold up.
Yeah, man. But I think Notre Dame win that game by a couple touchdowns, man.
Oh, man.
I think they wear them down.
That'd be a great sign. That would be a terrific sign leading into the Always Irish tailgate game in Ohio State, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Yes, sir. And that's the reason why I keep saying that we're going to beat Ohio State, because I think our corners, they match up well with their receivers, man. I think, you know, I don't see Marvin Harrison Jr. having a huge game, man. There's a lot of pressure on him, man. They talking about Heisman Trophy and all this. Man, it's going to be a lot of pressure on him, and his first true test is going to be them DBs from Notre Dame, man. I think they the best duo in the country, man.
Yeah, and you know what I do wonder, though? Everybody feels pretty good about those corners being talked about, maybe the best group there that we've had in like 20 years. Are you confident the safeties are going to be able to protect those guys and give them that extra layer of protection on the back end? You know, we're talking all about liking those corners. Are we sure that the safeties are going to allow this all to look the way we want it to look, even if the corners are good? I need them safeties to provide safety.
The good corners, man, is the safety is like the kryptonite, man. You know, the safeties could be be good. But man, if you got two really good lockdown corners, you don't have to really worry about the safeties, man, because the safeties don't get their share. That's going to make the safeties better. Them two corners, and possibly even the third with what I'm hearing about Christian Gray, man. I'm hearing pretty good things about him too. So I really think, man, that they're going to be okay, man.
You know what? You brought up Christian Gray, and I'm glad you did. I'm going to bring this up. I read this somewhere. Might have been Irish Sports Daily. Somewhere I read this or heard this. They were saying in most of the last 20 years of Notre Dame football, Christian Gray, in his current young freshman form off the street, would physically be in the mix to start at Notre Dame on the back end. And they're saying Notre Dame's got so many guys that are like further advanced, he's not in that mix. That right there tells you we're getting better talent. They're going, Christian Gray's a guy that would have had to start for Notre Dame a bunch of years as a freshman. He's nowhere close to that because they got guys that could actually do it ahead of him. That's a great sign.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm going to be honest. I seen Christian Gray play twice last year. Once against East St. Louis, and man, he didn't look good to me against East St. Louis. And then, the last 2 years, he really didn't look great against East St. Louis. And then I seen him against CBC last year, and I was like, man, maybe Notre Dame kind of made a mistake. But man, what I'm hearing out of camp, man, he's probably the third or fourth best deep corner that they got.
And you got that speed, man. You can't teach speed, and we always need more speed. And I do also, that's something I've taken out of camp as well, man. The physicality and the intensity seem to be a little better this year, and I like that. But I think the overall athleticism and speed of this team is improving year over year. I just think they're getting faster overall as a collective unit.
Yeah, and yeah, that's going to be great against teams like if you have to play a Georgia in the playoffs. Well, you have to be physical against Georgia. If you have to play any of them teams that got a ton of speed, like the Ohio State, the Oregons, if you have to play those teams, man, you have to have a ton of speed, man.
Yeah.
You got to have speed all over the field. Even like last year when we played against Clemson, man, we looked like the bigger, faster team, man. We look like the bullies.
Yeah.
Out there.
And I think
that's how we're going to have to play.
Yeah. And again, I think now we're getting into this year, and then next year, we're getting to where you're going to start seeing that blue chip ratio pay off. Notre Dame's going to have more depth and more talent and more speed spread throughout the whole roster. And that is just important overall. So that's trending in the right direction to me.
Another position that concerns me is the linebacker, man. Last year we wasn't as good at linebacker. Maybe it's the coaches or whatever. The coaching change might make the linebackers better. But that was a concern last year, man. It's a concern this year.
Hey, listen.
Hopefully that our linebackers.
Man, a lot of people are going to tell you, I don't know what you're talking about. 90% of the time, they're right where they need to be. They have experience. Bertrand's going to lead the team in tackles again, and you're worrying about nothing. Depending on who you ask, man, half the people love the linebackers and half of them want the young guys to play. It's wild.
We'll see, man. There's only time to tell, man. I mean, I'm hoping that they're right. You know what I'm saying? Because that's another position that you have to have great against like Ohio State, because Ohio State is basically, they fans are saying, hey, we got the best running back dude. We got the best running back class and room in the country, but we'll see. I mean, I don't think with that offensive line that they're not physical enough to have the best running attack.
Yeah.
In the country, I think, I hate to say it, but I think Michigan got the best running back duo in the country.
Yeah,
but
could be.
Time to tell.
Yeah, I hope they marshal themselves. They don't play anybody till mid-November. I need them to sleepwalk in the big house one day and get upset, and it'll mess up their plan of breezing right through this high school slate.
Well, they didn't want Notre Dame, man.
Yeah,
they don't want nobody that's close to the top 25.
Man, I'm telling you, they did a good job of avoiding it till November. What do you make of Navy having two quarterbacks, man? If you got two, do you got none? What's the reality? Trying to be tricky on us? Some Navy tricks? What do you think?
It might be. I mean, one might be a passing quarterback. We might see some spread from Navy for the first time ever. But
yeah, I don't know what they got cooking,
close,
man. They got a new coach. Maybe he wants to sneak up on Notre Dame, make a big bang his first game in Navy and throw stuff at us and see if he can catch us. It's a concern. Notre Dame's got to be aware. You don't have tape on this guy. He may be more aggressive in ways Coach Ken refused to be. He may be tricky. I don't know. Notre Dame's got to be ready for everything.
And man, I'm like, man, this is one of the games that I say every year, man. Why is Notre Dame playing Navy every single year?
I
playing
know.
These service academies, like, because one thing, they might be smaller, but they seem to be more physical than every time I watch them. Every other year I watch them against Notre Dame, I say, man, they look more. They might be smaller, but they look more physical and more intense.
And you know what else? They never stop. They just never quit. They go, and I respect that, but it's a pain in the ass. They never stop. They just go. And I respect them for it, but it's just annoying when you're playing them.
And I think we go into that first week, man, that Ohio State game. I think we 5-0, man. But how we win the games, man, is going to determine, man. I hate the way ESPN treats Notre Dame, man. They treat us like we step children because they do. Because we won't commit full time to Notre Dame. I mean, to ESPN. I mean, I think that Notre Dame finish up in the top 4, and I think they make that 11-1 and push them in the playoffs because of schedule.
Yeah, with that schedule, it'd be hard to leave them out at 11-1. Man, it's just 1 week at a time. You know, I don't want to get ahead of myself. It's I don't know, man. It's just this is it's a big year. Marcus needs to get some things stabilized. You have Hartman here. It's all available to you. I'm excited, man. The energy's building, and I can feel it. Anything else on the way out? Thanks for hitting me up on a Monday.
Yeah, we got to start winning by more than field goals, and man, we got to start winning by 3 or 4 touchdowns to prove a point.
Yep,
man.
I like that.
But other than that, man, you have a great week, John.
I appreciate you, man. Give me a call back Wednesday or Friday if you want. Have a good Monday, buddy. Thank you. What a nice guy, regular caller. Always has Notre Dame thoughts. Here's the other thing. 575, you're going to be up next. I want to focus on, for a moment, how he was saying we need to start winning by bigger margins. I think that is an important step in any evolution of a team that ultimately wants to be considered elite or title contenders or playoff contenders or whatever. And I think that's something Notre Dame has not been good enough to be able to even do because of the way they've been built and because of some of the personnel last year due to circumstances with the quarterback going down that limited what you could do. I think it's important at some point that a switch gets flipped on to where you go into that destroy mode. It is a mentality, not to just be able to win a game against a team you have better talent than, but to be able to pound them. Like how many times does Notre Dame win a lame game against somebody who's not great by like 6 points or 10 points or something, and it's whatever, and we win, but it's not like an impressive blowout, and you don't get to clear the benches, get your quarterback out so he doesn't get injured, let younger guys get experience, whatever. Notre Dame needs to get there. And maybe with Hartman, you will have an offense that's capable of scoring enough that you're able to do that to some people in a way we have not been able to. But I think that's an evolution. That mindset of it's not good enough to just beat you. We are going to blow you out by 4 scores, and our second guys are going to be running it on you. That's where I want to get. And the 24 Notre Dame team is going to have a lot of transition on the roster. And you're going to need some of these guys to get some playing time this year. Like, nothing can make up for game reps. Nothing. Practicing, film, camp, whatever. Nothing can make up for real live game reps. Notre Dame's, it's going to be important to get some of those guys snaps this year. And you can only do it in blowouts. And I don't expect Notre Dame to have any of those on the down end. You better not have any of those on the down end. So I need Notre Dame to blow some people out and be able to get these guys some playing time. Raise some confidence, reduce injury risk to your best players, get these guys experience, let the country know Notre Dame ain't messing around this year, and we're coming out here to kick the crap out of you. You got to let teams know, put it on film. Notre Dame's a real offense you're going to have to be worried about. When's the last time you felt that and we said that? 575, make it alive. What's going on?
How you doing, John?
I'm doing very well, my friend. I am letting the early football anxiety and energy build in me, and it's magical, and I love it. And football time's here, my friend. What's on your mind on a Monday?
So you literally just took you didn't necessarily take my question away, but, listening to the show today and previous shows, and everybody's talking about this season and being excited and, just the opportunity that we have to excel this year for 2023. What my question was going to be was, how often do you want to see Angeli and Minchie on the field this year, seeing that Hartman's only got 1 year and moving forward to next year? And just like you said, having that on-field experience, getting that under your belt, getting comfortable and moving forward, because it's going to be a competition come spring. How often do you want to see these guys on the field this year?
Man, it's really interesting. All right. Well, my initial answer, generally speaking, would be as much as possible, because I assume that means Notre Dame's kicking the crap out of people and you feel free to be able to go with your second quarterback. So in general, the more the better, because I think it means we're blowing people out, because we shouldn't get blown out to where it's the other way. But here's where it's really interesting, man. I don't know what Notre Dame's going to want to do next year at quarterback. Is it going to be a competition between Angeli and Minchie, or are they going to want to venture into the portal again to build a bridge to give those guys another year, and then Carr can sit and then you have a competition the following year? I don't know what they're going to want to do with that. And maybe it depends on how Minchie and Angeli develop this year. I don't know what they're going to want to do with that. Then here's the next part of it. I don't think they want to blow Minchie's red shirt. So they're only going to want him to be in 4 games or less so he doesn't lose that year of eligibility. So then it becomes a tricky dynamic between Angeli getting those backups, and then where can you find a spot to see what Minchie has within that? That's the part I think is most interesting, because you got a plan for that. You want Angeli to be the normal backup, but they don't want to blow Minchie's red shirt, but we want to kind of see him too. So I don't know how you thread that needle.
Okay, that's an interesting perspective on that. And just like you said, with Carr coming in for 24, I don't know. I'm trying to be an optimist here. It's like the guys are there. They're putting in the work right now, and you have to have some type of faith in what you're doing. And if you have faith in what you're doing, then with those two players, putting them out there, hey, you're capable enough to not only, play here, but you're capable enough to start and compete, for, not only the starting position, but get the team in a position to compete in games and everything. You bring somebody else in, and I mean, it's going to probably mess with their psyche a little bit, to where it's like, well, crap, Angeli's been there a few years. Well, shoot, ain't been able to get out on the field. Minchie, okay, you brought me here, but now you're bringing somebody else here. Well, what do you think about me now? So it's kind of going to be that delicate balance you know, then it will be interesting to see what happens.
And you know what, man, I keep saying this and all roads lead me back to this. I think Gaduli is one of the most important parts to this entire program right now. Having a guy dedicated to these quarterbacks and their development specifically, not having Reese trying to game plan the offense and being the quarterback guy. Having this guy here to work with these young guys, develop them, be with them every day, looking at everything they do, every throwing motion, all the footwork, how their progressions are, all of that. I think a lot of how this shapes up is going to have to do with Gaduli's reading on where these guys are at, who he thinks is close enough to being able to play right away, where they're at. His evaluation of all of this is going to be very, very key to shape how they want to process this into 24. But I guess you just got to hope we're in the position to be able to play these guys a lot this year in big wins.
Yes, absolutely. I was just thinking, you know, we have been institutionalized in regards to how, I'm going to call it the previous administration, how they ran things.
Yeah.
But again, being optimistic and having fresh blood in there and getting a different perspective of with the tools that they have right now and what they can do with those tools to make Notre Dame better, to get to that next level and be consistent with that next level.
Yeah.
Because what you're doing now is you're building that, you know, that system to where I'm going to get somebody coming in, and no matter what, they're going to be able to compete. And with that competition, they're going to be able to get out there on that field. And I like how you said about with the quarterback coach, and he's going to be there and you know, being able to observe them every day. I'm really stoked about it. But I was just kind of curious again to see.
I cannot downplay how important I think that job is. And when Freeman wanted to get Reese a quarterback coach to help him, Reese said, I don't need that. I'm the man. I could do it all. Game plan week to week, all the offensive sets, and do the quarterbacks. I think that was a mistake. I think that's a full-time job that you need a guy in there every minute. I think it's a full-time job, and now we have somebody dedicated to it. And you know what else Gaduli does? He recruits his ass off. He's recruiting that Deuce Knight kid, letting him know we like you, we want you. I like everything I've heard from Gaduli, and I think it could be a low-key, big acquisition for Notre Dame. I love everything about it at the moment.
I do too. I do too. John, it's been great. You know, I'm going to continue listening to the show, and you know, I have to have decaf coffee when I'm watching you because you get me hyped. When you get hyped, I'm like, dang, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah. So I have to calm myself down when I'm watching.
I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, my role here is to get you guys going, whether it's good or bad or whatever. I look at that as my role is to get you guys into this and to have you all amped up. And believe me, I got a couple things coming before the season, some pump up type stuff. Like I got some stuff coming. I like building it up and building that energy, man. We're all in this together. We ride the waves of Notre Dame football together, whether it's good or bad. We're all in it together, man.
All right, brother. I hear you. Well, hey, you have a great day, and you know, go Irish.
Go Irish. Take care. Thanks for the call, man. Save the number. Call again. Oh, look at this. Chicks dig the stutter. We got a $10 holler. Look at this great message. Hello for Breaking Bad country. Had a baby yesterday. I think we were worrying too much. Look, it's just funny to me. It's like, well, we had a baby yesterday. Let's get to the football, okay? We had a baby yesterday. Yeah. I think we're worrying too much about Navy. The 4 wins are against not very good ND teams. 2007, Weiss last year, Kelly first year, 2016. Those are very, very good points. But you kind of buried the lead, my friend. Congratulations on the baby. And here's the other thing I want to congratulate you on. And I managed to do this as well. You managed to have that baby right before the season. Good job. Good job, man. That's the way to do it. Mine is too. Late August, before we're into football, the kids' parties, all the stuff, the initial having the baby and everything you got to deal with. Well, for us, it was the NICU forever, which was a lot of fun. Let me tell you that. But it's beautiful, man. Have the baby before the season. It gives you a couple weeks to settle in, and then you're going to be good to go. Oh, I like that, MJH Irish. Why didn't I think of this? I'm mad at this. Gino is primo. I'm mad that I didn't think of that. That pisses me off. That needs to be a t-shirt. I'm mad I didn't think of that. But chicks dig this stutter. Congratulations. Hope the baby and mom, everybody's doing fine. It'll change your football perspective, though, when you have a kid. I realize that. It just naturally changes your priorities because it has to if you're a responsible person. I admit it was bizarre to feel the way it felt during Notre Dame games after I had a kid. It just your mind shifts, your life prioritizations just naturally shift. And Notre Dame can no longer be the only thing you worry about every day. It was wildly uncomfortable for me. It was a big adjustment. 7:07. Good morning on a Monday.
Wow, John, what's up?
Just feeling the Notre Dame in me, man. Just feeling the Notre Dame in me. It's building in all of us.
Yeah, it's I've been watching the ACC channel, and as much as when I call into you, I'm sitting there saying, we could be 11-1. I'm getting scared.
They build them up. You're not the only one, man. Hey, you're not the only one. I get these messages because they'll go through like these different teams, focus on their camp. It's the ACC network, though. They're supposed to highlight all of the positives of all their members and say that they're all going to be good. But you are not the first person who's told me watching the ACC network has got some people nervous. What in particular? Is it NC State? Is that it?
Well, I'm watching the games, not just their, like
the commentary.
We have blue and gold spring.
Yeah.
I'm watching games from last year, and that's where I'm getting nervous. Like I'm watching North Carolina State, and I'm watching Clemson, and I have Duke in the queue ready to go next. But Louisville, it's like we have one hell of a stretch. I wish the Pac-12 had something so I could watch USC of what they did other than against us. But this is a hell of a stretch that we're going to start with Ohio State. It's every game is tough from Ohio State all the way until the last game of the year with Stanford. Those teams are tough.
Yeah. And what I'm looking at? I'm looking at, oh God, look at this stretch. This window of Ohio State, Duke, Louisville, USC.
There's about 7 games.
Yeah, but at least you get a couple buys. After USC, you get a buy before Pitt comes to town. And then you get a buy after Clemson. They're both late. But man, that 4-week window, Ohio State, Duke, Louisville, USC, that's tough. And then Pitt is always just a pain in the ass.
Yeah, and you have like Duke and then what's that other? Well, Clemson, but you have Wake Forest. You can bet they're going to be sky high to go against Hartman.
Yeah, they're going to want to take out their old leader there. Yeah, and it's like, I don't know. Listen,
and they played Clemson last year and lost in a double overtime. Wake Forest. So this is scary to me.
Yeah, I know.
Reality is starting to set in.
And the one that is in my mind, man, America generally, when they hear Duke, they think Coach K and basketball. That is a big part. Right. That is a big part of this Duke thing. Is the first thing you think about is not even football. I'm telling you. They had the same damn record we had last year, and they have a coach that we all respect a lot in Mike Elko. I'm just telling you, that isn't USC. It ain't Clemson. It's not Georgia. It's none of that. I'm telling you, it could be tricky if you let it be tricky.
Yeah, and North Carolina State early in the season, I think after 3 games or maybe 4 games after they played Clemson, and I guess they lost to them, but it was another close game. But North
Yeah.
Carolina State was ranked 10th, at the time.
But see,
so,
man, wait, you're in the mind space where I've been the last like week or two. I'm driving around town, I'm
Right.
doing whatever, I'm mowing the lawn, and in my mind, I'm going now. I'm running down this schedule, and I don't know what the realities are. I can't tell anymore. We've dissected it all so much. I don't know whether I'm overblowing how good any of these teams are or underdoing it. I don't know anymore, man. I don't know what the reality is for this year yet. And I guess that's why the games are played on in real life and not on paper, right?
Yeah, and I'm like, we're not good enough to underestimate anybody.
Correct.
Except for the front part of the season. We're just not proven yet.
Yeah.
And so then you talk about how do you balance trying to get guys ready for next year? You got to realize your tackles are going to be gone and your quarterback's going to be gone. And, there's a whole lot you have to kind of look at. It used to be that you could look 4 years ahead and say, okay, we got our recruiting done for the next 4 years, but now there's a transfer portal that blows everything away.
Yeah. It's
like anything you've accomplished.
That's a very, very good point. It is season to season with big changes with a lot of these teams. It's a very good point.
Yeah. We lost Collie. We lost Diggs. We lost Butler. I mean,
well, the biggest part of all that is the quarterbacks. The quarterbacks are the thing that moves the needle, the way they move around. And then like that changes everything. Look at what USC did. Look at what we just did. Like that changes everything. When you got these quarterbacks moving 1 year to the next, that really moves the needle.
Right.
And Buckner down to Alabama, Buckner down in Alabama, going to have that Heisman year, baby. Light it up.
Yeah. But the thing that annoys me is that, you hear the Big Ten, their podcast and the SEC's podcast, they give no respect to the ACC. And these teams are very good. They're known for basketball, but you can't, I think last year they had probably about 5 teams in the top 25. So even though I don't know if they wound up that way, but maybe at the beginning of the year, I don't remember any of that. But, they had at one point a lot of good teams, being ranked before this season started. So you can't really discount the ACC. Nothing's been done yet with them. They're still the same teams they were. There's talk that Florida State might leave and, Miami and, they're trying to make Clemson do something. But right now they're still the same unit they were. And it's a very tough, it's a Power 5, it's a legitimate Power 5. And Notre Dame, for some reason, Warbrick set it up to be able to play 5 teams a year and not get a playoff out of it, but a championship out of it. But these teams are good, and we have a lot to worry about.
Yeah.
I was so confident earlier, but then I started looking at the big picture for what's on next year.
I'm telling you, man, it'll almost drive you crazy when you get this close. Yeah. When you get this close and you think about it and analyze it as much as we all do, and you don't have any answers yet, it'll make you go crazy. America just needs games to start. And everybody's running their mouths, and a lot of people are going to be right and a lot are going to be wrong. We need to figure out who's who here.
Yeah, it's just, I need the season, like you said, we need the season to start so we see what we have and how it can, portray what lies ahead,
Yeah.
So if we take care of Navy, and I feel like we can, Lou Holtz's years, there was never any easy. They had one undefeated season, So, here's Freeman trying to build, something for the future. But with the transfer portal, you just never know now. It's just such a crapshoot.
Yeah, it really is, man. And listen, talent-wise, there's no reason Notre Dame can't have a great year, but they need to take care of business. And my biggest overarching question is probably, I am very, very certain Sam Hartman being here raises what this team is capable of doing on a major level that trickles down throughout the entire program and every unit on the team, offense, defense, whatever. But what I can't do is measure how much. I don't know how much. I don't know how much that raises what's possible, either in terms of time of possession, points average per game, or overall wins. I have no way to calculate that. I know he makes a lot more available to us. I just can't measure by how much. Nobody can.
Right. And did you see the quarter or the captains being named? Did you see that?
I did. What do you make of that? Do you disagree with any of them? Do you like it? Where are you at on that?
I was going to ask you because you were pretty accurate on what you were thinking. So they did make Hartman a captain, and they did make Alt a captain. Those are the two you mentioned, and you didn't say beyond that, but you were right on your two that you did say.
Yeah. And then you got Bertrand and Hart. And so I think the players were a part of the process. So if these are their guys, then, I'm fine with that. The quarterback's always a captain, whether it's in name or action. They just are. They're too important. But I do think it would be a good sign if all the other guys have bought into a guy coming in that won at Notre Dame and get behind him and know he's good, and that they could strap on his back and ride him and he could raise things. That would be a good sign.
Yeah. Well, what Patrick Cotter said was, he's going to not make an opinion on that and wait until the team talks about who they think their leaders are. So I think you have to kind of agree with that. But boy, my question is, how did Cam Hart earn captaincy? He must be a leader in the clubhouse, because I don't see him on the field making plays and leading by example. I just didn't see it. Now maybe he's improved, he's healthy, who knows what his reasons were for not excelling to this point. And he's so far been below the line, the Mendoza line for me. I don't have the faith in him that a lot of people are talking about.
I wonder if some of it is like the respect of fighting through rough injury history or something. If that's a part of it, I don't know. Perseverance through that, I don't know.
Yeah.
And then here's the other thing, though. Here's the other thing, though. I want to know what this captaincy means, because I think it means different things to different people. Like for me, it means that I am entrusting this group to make sure the other players are doing what they need to do and have their minds and bodies ready and focused and all that. But I don't know the practical realities of that, of how those responsibilities and how involved they are in making sure the team's in the right mind space. I just don't know how practical captaincy is anymore at this level. I genuinely don't know.
Yeah, you have to hope that these guys are going to take it seriously and, keep guys in line off the field and have them focused on what, is important to their overall benefit of everyone there. So you have to hope that these guys that they elected is going to be beneficial towards that whole realm.
Yeah, because what I think is, where was the player leadership when you slept walk through Marshall and Stanford at home? Where was the player leadership being either one, making sure they're in the right mind space to not let that happen before the game, and then in the game being wake up, we're not doing this. This can't be, wake up. I don't know where the player responsibility on that falls either.
Yeah, I'm not disappointed. I mean, you have to name captains. I'm glad they named 4. I like having a lot of guys out there to show the refs, these guys have earned captaincy, and there's 4 of them.
Yeah,
so
and I like it. And I like it when one of them's a brick wall named Joe Alt, and he's going out there to meet you. I like that a lot. I like that image.
Yeah. Well, I also hope that he's got the respect of the teammates, because they were talking about him doing some kind of a food critique or something, and the players are getting on his case for that. So, I mean, I hope that he has the respect and not just one of the guys that's a clown kind of thing.
Yeah.
I want him to be all business, and I want him to keep all those offensive linemen hungry and angry and ready to go, So we'll see what happens with that. But I like Bertrand, the idea of him as a captain. I'm good with that. The only question I have is Cam Hart. So we'll see what that winds up bringing. But it's captains, and it's important, but it's the play on the field that's going to determine.
Yeah, but
true
like
success,
that's how I feel too. Like it's important, but also I kind of don't know how important it really is. Like I feel both ways about it because we're not behind the scenes to know all the responsibilities and obligations that those guys take on. I know Mike Goolsby talked about taking it deadly serious when he was a captain of it is my responsibility to make sure these guys are ready. And if we are not ready as a collective group, and I'm a part of the named leadership committee of this group, that's on me. And I just don't know if that same sort of obligation applies anymore in the modern era. I don't know. I just don't know.
Yeah. I hope all those captains have that kind of mentality, because Goolsby was one of the last really great linebackers. He was a 5-star they got, and he earned that because he was really that good on defense, clogging up the middle.
Yeah.
So,
and it was just a mentality too. The mentality too. Like he had a certain mindset about him, about old school work pale Notre Dame football defense, like that whole thing I buy into. So I will always respect
Smash mouth.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And just
smash mouth. Yeah.
And the tough guy stuff, and just, and taking everything seriously. And I don't know. So I don't know, man. We'll see. I mean, if we blow Navy out, then the captains are great. And if it's a close game, then we need to mix it up. Like that's how fickle it is when it's this time of the year. I don't know what we're going to get.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm glad that we're starting off with 2 pretty easy games just to get their footing. And then the test, like that caller before me said, North Carolina State, that's going to be a big, big test. And it's a good way to get ready for Ohio State. You know?
It is. It is the first physical test Notre Dame's going to have. The other stuff is more about making sure you do what you need to do and take care of business. NC State will be that first one. And I'm looking, you and I both, I'm looking up front. What does that D line look like? What does the O line look like? Like, that's a big test. So I don't know, man. We're getting there. We're going to start getting answers to our questions soon, my friend.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm very, I've been telling you about that D line forever,
You have.
How good I feel about it. So
I'll give you credit. Before fall camp, you were one of the people that was a little more optimistic about the defensive front than most other people were, including me. And then we got into camp, and the reports have been good about that, about the rotation and the depth and the intensity and the effort and everything. So you were early on that one, and I want you to be right, damn it.
Yeah, the only thing I'm hoping is that this Mills has really blossomed into being a pass rusher at defensive tackle. Like, you can call back to some of those guys that went to the NFL, like Joe Klecko and, that New York Giant guy that was really a bull rush kind of guy. Like, if I can have Mills, like, really come to the top of his game, play up to, even surpass, because, we all wanted to see it happen, but it sounds like in this preseason scrimmaging, he's a beast. Like somebody said, he threw down Blake Fisher in another chat.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Nothing.
Yeah, I saw that too. And he beefed up, man. He's up almost near 310 now, and I didn't think he could get that big. And he carries it well. It's not a sloppy. I think it was 307. I think officially, but it's not a sloppy 307. It's like muscle brick 307.
He's like 6'6", isn't he?
Yeah, and
6'6" or 6'7".
I didn't realize that he was quite beefed up to that level, and it does make me feel a little bit better about that being a concern up front. Where you don't have a Lewis Nix type guy clogging up the middle. I don't know, man. You were early on this, so if they end up being good and having a good rotation, you deserve credit on that one. You were earlier than the crowd was on that take.
Yeah. And
if it goes bad, I'm blaming you. So there you go, buddy. There's your season. If it goes bad, then I'm blaming you.
Yeah, and you're welcome to, because I'll take on that responsibility.
And I'll say, how dare you try and give us encouragement, make us feel good? Look what you caused. It can only go bad.
I know. The consternation.
I know, but man, it is. You could feel it, man, and we're ramped up. I don't know if you're on Twitter or not, but people are losing their minds.
No.
Everybody's running their mouths. Fan bases are starting to chirp. Like players are talking. Everybody's energy's ramping up, man. You could feel it in that college football Twitter circle. Everybody's getting chirpy. Everybody's getting chirpy.
Well,
somebody's going to be right. Somebody's going to be wrong.
Well, the thing is, the old timers, I'm beyond hungry for something like this. So that's why I do feel really good about what Freeman's been able to do in 2 years. It's really very short amount of time, and his recruiting has been phenomenal. And, in the age of transfers, it gets negated to some extent, because then you have teams like USC and Michigan brought in apparently three offensive linemen this year because they had nobody. They all left. And these guys, they're saying they can be all Big Ten, the three of them.
Yeah.
So I know you hate Michigan, but
I do.
Like, that's just an example of what the portal presents,
But I do think
so as good as your recruiting,
I think you're going to start seeing that blue chip ratio we all talk about in these recruiting classes really start to pay off for Notre Dame. It may not be a top 3 overall class, but I think you're already starting to see more younger guys that can get in early and be in the 2 deep and push everybody. That is a good sign overall. And I think the more years you have of Freeman recruiting, hopefully you see that keep trending where the depth is better and more guys can play earlier. That's what we need. And it looks like we're getting a lot of that.
Yeah. And, everyone gives Al Washington a tough time, but it could be that he needed time, like coaches need time to mature too, So, Freeman's going through that maturation process, and Al Washington, he's brought in some players that are like in the last 2 years, I feel great about. So, it's a matter of keeping them all happy so they don't leave, because we're always going to get some that leave, and that sucks because it's just, this is what the new world of college football is. It's a transfer portal, and kids that just feel like they should be on the field, they're going to go somewhere to get on the field. So that's the balancing act that Freeman, as good as his recruiting can be, and his staff, there's always going to be this chaotic transfer portal thing, and young kids that are, not mature yet, saying, "Hey, I'm good, and if you don't see it, I'm out of here."
Now, you know what? Now let me give you this though. I've thought of this. This is good. Oh, Mark with glasses says, "Can I bring Pepto-Bismol to the tailgate?" That's my favorite drink. Now I'm telling you, that's my first drink I mix up every Saturday morning. Calm the old stomach down. I make myself a Pepto-Bismol margarita. I don't know why that's funny to me. It just is, but I need that coating, baby. I need that stomach coated. Man, Notre Dame will stress you out, buddy. Oh, wait, what the hell was I talking about? What the hell was I talking about?
I'm old school. I do Brioski. Brioski is my old school remedy.
There you go. I'm telling you, man, it's just rough times when Notre Dame plays. You got to coat that stomach. I forgot what I was talking about. What were we saying? What the hell?
The consternation of the transfer portal.
Thank you. Here's what I was going to say about that. In some ways, I do think Notre Dame's in a better position than some other schools with that. And the reason why is Notre Dame tends to get more guys that buy into Notre Dame and that mission than like just a football player free agent, which a lot of these guys are. I think sometimes that could help because those guys are more bought into Notre Dame overall and more likely to maybe stick around, where some of I'm going to the highest bidder football and I can't even read. Those guys, that doesn't matter as much. So maybe Notre Dame's insulated a little bit for that. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a numbers game. But, you even start to see some of that armor on USC. These guys, some of the guys that they transferred in are already getting out of there. So, this is it's just such a crapshoot now that it's too new for me to say, Notre Dame's in a better position that way, because I understand what you're saying. Usually the kids that want Notre Dame mostly are going to stay, but it's still such a new thing. It's only been like really 2 years of this chaos. And then you got the realignment of the Power Fives and all this. So everything is such flux, you know. It's hard to say. You just have to watch every week and see what transpires, you know.
Yeah.
And it's exciting.
I don't know, my friend. We're going to get some answers soon. I really appreciate you calling on a Monday. Hope you have a good week, and we'll be back Wednesday and Friday as usual.
Yeah. And if I have something to contribute, I'll call. But
yeah.
I don't want to be always every week without saying anything, you know. It's just
well,
bunch of bundle of nerves. We bounce off each other a bundle
You got to
of nerves.
get it out. You got to get it out somehow. I don't know, man. Next time you're in a public rest stop bathroom, give me a call like you did the other day, all right?
Okay, John.
All
have a good day.
Have a good week, my friend.
Go Irish.
Go Irish. Have a good week.
Right.
Oh, man. Really nice callers today. That's going to be it, folks. Really good bank of callers. Nice guys. Thanks for being here. Thanks for the chats. Thanks for the donations. We'll put a short out tonight. And then we will have an episode in the morning. We'll go live Wednesday. We have articles on Irish Wire. We're into the season now. Things are getting the real deal, folks. Things are getting to be the real deal. So we're going to do what we need to do to all get through this together, whether we're good or bad, happy, mad, or sad. We're going to do it all together, okay? Everybody have a good start to your week, a good Monday, and stay tuned for a short tonight, and we'll see you on the flip side.